Today I have my friend Jason Yas in the building. Welcome, man.
Hey, brother. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
So Jason is the president, broker of record for Golden West Management, your neighborhood property manager here in San Diego. He's licensed in 3 states. He's a certified badass and real estate expert. He loves to go rip the waves. We're going to get some of that.
Yeah.
Like I said, man, stoked to have you here.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me on. And of course, another badass talking to me. I can't get anything better than that. First of all, let's just dive into some waves. It was a flat summer.
It was.
And it didn't really warm up that much. So
We talked about that, but you know, once in a while, you said you're planning a trip down to Central America. You always post some super dope videos of you out there shredding. Love it, dude.
Central America, first of all, hidden gem. I had no idea anything was past Cabo, so my apologies. And then we have a big contingent of team members down in El Salvador and Nicaragua, and I got to visit one time, and I fell in love. And warm water, turns, and just wonderful people.
Yeah, I remember when I did your pod, you were telling me about Nicaragua, and you were like raving about it.
Yeah. Obviously,
How's the cost of living?
So to put it in perspective, I believe like their standard minimum wage is something like $1 an hour. So, gross revenue per year for an average person is like $6,000, $7,000 a year. So the cost of living is a lot more affordable, but it's really about the people, and it's, so friendly. I know people hear negative stories, but super safe. I was very comfortable in the environments. I visited places like Playa Gigante, Hacienda Iguana, just some amazing places, San Juan del Sur. And again, great people, great surf, and it was an easy flight.
I'm a traveler though, Jay. Like CNN's all BS, bro.
Yeah, of course.
I've been to 45 countries. Costa Rica, amazing.
Right.
Thailand, we're not going to get into all that, but I agree. You got to go see it for yourself. You got to listen to people who have been there, take their word for it, and, ask questions. If you're going to travel, I highly, highly suggest it. All right, cool. Let's get into this thing. So tell me about your favorite business or real estate mantra, Jay, something that you kind of have, heard, read, and like.
So the biggest mantra that I come with is rent it like you mean it. Look, I'm a property manager by trade. And so when it comes to the real estate investment game, specifically when it comes to rentals, like there's a mentality of the way to do things, and you can either do it right or you can do it wrong. And so our philosophy, and the one that I've really bought into, is rent it like you mean it. That means, look, you're not going to be a slumlord. You're not going to tell the tenant, oh, I'm sorry, I just can't afford to fix that. You're going to make sure that you put your best foot forward when you put a property on the market. You're going to make sure to price it right so that you get quality people that are living in your place that aren't going to just pay the rent on time, but they're going to take care of it like it was their home. So,
do you feel like property managers are undervalued in our space?
I think that's just a matter of perspective. I mean, if you don't show people what value you provide them, then they're just going to assume what they might not already know.
Yeah.
So if you're bringing value to the table, then you have value. And if you're not, if you're just collecting a check and forwarding it on, you're not doing anything good for your client.
That is the definition of value, right?
Right.
Giving something to someone that's is worth more than they're giving you.
That's correct.
That's what value is.
Right.
Okay, I love that. I love that mantra. You're saying essentially this is more on the side of the owner, right, of the property. Hey, invest into this thing.
Absolutely.
You're going to reduce turnover.
Right.
You're going to get better tenants. They're going to pay on time. This is all in theory, right? Control the things that you can control.
Correct.
Copy that. What do you do for fun? We talked about surfing, bro.
I mean, yeah, I grew up by the water. I've never really left the water, and I don't know that I can. But listen, I've got 3 kids. I've got triplets, and they are all of my time, and I love it. It's my why. 2 boys and a girl, and their eyes are opening to the world. And so there isn't a day or a weekend that goes by that it's not like, hey, let's go try this. Let's go do that. For instance,
Sutton, Preston, Jack.
Just
learned that today at lunch.
Absolutely. Shout out to Devin. We named the kids basically loosely after the Gossip Girls. So that's where we got that. But fun fact, again, triplets, kids are about to turn 8. They've been on the slopes for a couple years. This last season, they were ripping. And it's so amazing to go with your kids skiing down the mountain with a little train where they're doing S-turns, and then all of a sudden one of your boys gets that, ooh, I'm gonna do a little kicker. And boom, he goes, he lands it. The smile on his face was so huge. And after that, it's just like, Dad, I got this.
Love it, dude. That fatherhood feeling when they take that leap is amazing.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it, dude.
No.
It's a very, very surreal thing. Because, you always think fatherhood's going to be a certain way. You've read books, you've seen shows,
Right.
all this stuff. You've talked to all your friends, right? You were a kid. There's nothing like that, dude.
No.
So I took my kids we go to the park, and my oldest is developing a fear of heights.
Right.
And I'm really kind of Jay. I'm like, no, we don't have fears like that in our family. Like, that's not my jam.
We
like,
charge it.
People are like, Jonathan, you shouldn't be that way. And I'm like, look, fear is a real thing. Mm-hmm. I've felt fear many times in my life.
Right.
Part of business and life is walking through fear, knowing it's there.
Right.
Being conscientious of the fear, but not letting it control or dictate you. I feel afraid, right?
Yeah.
Oftentimes fear is irrational.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm an intelligent human, how do I essentially overcome that fear? I know it's irrational, right? So we were at the park. She had fear of heights, developing one. She gets on, the jungle gym thing. And I had my middle daughter jump to me. She jumped, no problem. She wouldn't jump.
Yeah.
And we walked through it. We got her a little bit lower, so
Right.
she felt comfortable.
Right.
And then she jumped. And then the next time it was a little better. But yes, to get to your point, something as small as that, she's going to be certified as a scuba diver next year when she turns 10, which is a whole different thing. But she's not afraid of the water.
Right.
She can stay in the water all day. She's afraid of heights. So walking through that, and then you do feel really, really proud. Love that. Fun. You hang out with the kids. You travel. You surf. Opportunity, Jay. That is part of the focus round here. One opportunity that was a game changer for you. We were talking a little bit about it over lunch. You said, you had built your business. You had a ton of units, but there were some things you need to tighten up, and you got a coach. Tell me about that.
Well, let me be real up front. The reason I even reached out to a coach is because we had a huge operation and ton of clients, and we weren't making any fucking money. And it was brutal. And I remember looking at the books and not being able to understand why. And so I got a coach.
Yeah.
And the coach brought me...
Do you want to mention him or?
Jordan Muela from The Profit Coach.
Okay.
Specialized in nurturing property management company owners, and has done an amazing job.
Shout out Jordan.
Yeah, just all-around great guy with an infectious smile, and he had the ability to cut to the core and say, hey, come to this group. Sat down with my peers, and he asked some basic questions, and I realized I wasn't doing any of the things that they were doing, so required some active, conscious decision-making of, hey, I'm going to raise my prices. We were the cheapest company around.
How was that for the pride and the ego and, hey, I'm the man? I'm sure you had leaned on sort of the number of units you had because it's a large amount.
Right.
And then to realize all this is sort of fluff. How did you walk through that? What is the potential of me losing 50% of that?
Yeah.
Which I've sort of had going for me for so long. It became part of my pitch and who I am sort of in a way as far as business. I have the potential to lose half these clients, but I'm going to be doing less work and making more money. How'd you walk through that?
Well, there was a lot of fear for sure. And let me just go back to the emotion part. Absolutely. The whole business was my identity. I thought I was the man. I never wanted to collaborate with anybody else. I was like, well, why? They're my competitors. Why would I want to get in a room with my competitors and share my secrets and share what I do? And that it was just the wrong mentality.
Yep.
And this was a gentleman who was able to open my eyes to nah, man, that's small thinking. There's a better way to do this. So that's what happened.
Love that. Huge opportunity when you hired a coach and then listened to him. And applied what he taught you.
All right.
Coaching's huge, man. Communication, the most important communication tip, core value, commitment to effective communication. Explain that to me.
If you walk into any of our offices, Jonathan, in the conference room, it says right there in big bold letters, core value number 1, commitment to effective communication. It is the number one thing we can all control.
100%.
I mean, it's the one part that, I don't jump up and down as much as I used to, but that'll get me to jump up and down if I hear somebody saying, oh, nobody called me back.